Hello everyone. I wanted to make a little quick video today for all the martial arts school owners, give them some exciting news. I had a great private victory and a public victory. I got together with someone that I've admired for years and years and years, and after probably about 30 years we connected again out of nowhere. And she has some really exciting news. I'm going to share with you guys what first of all, who she is, and for some of you, so newcomers that maybe you haven't, we haven't been around that long, you get an opportunity to get to know this lady, and where she's been, and some of the goals that she has for the martial arts industry, which as a martial arts school owner, I'm really excited about. Anyway, this is Graciela Casillas, and a world champion boxer and a kickboxer, and she has some exciting things that we'll be talking about. But I'm just going to kind of give the thing to her to a little bit talk about her background, for some of you guys to get to know her. So, Grace, where have you been?
Well, I've been around. I'm here in Ventura County, and I had moved out of state for a few years, but I've returned. And basically, I work at a college. I'm a counselor at Oxnard College, and I also have my martial arts school. And I've been really excited because studying at the college and teaching, I have a master's in education and one in PE, and I've always really liked teaching, and I developed courses for the college that were, Jujitsu, eskrima, boxing and kickboxing, and women's self-defense. And teaching the women's self-defense and teaching these courses as PE courses, which were, by the way, transferable to the UC and Cal States, I realized that there's a real need to start teaching women self-defense courses. And there was a time when I was competing, and after I retired from the ring back in the 80s, I tried teaching women self-defense, and I have to tell you that I was a little bit frustrated because it seemed that the pushback then was when I'm working with groups, especially in Santa Monica, where I was at the time, I would go to these shelters and try to offer women's self-defense classes. And there's really been a big a change in philosophies, because at that point in time, really, when a woman was assaulted, they would go and they would receive counseling, and they were basically told, I'm sorry, there's nothing you could have done. But you know what? You can go to therapy for the next 10 years and you will be okay. And I was trying to say, you could learn to fight. You could do something. And so it wasn't a very popular philosophy that I had at the time. And so I kind of got away from it for a while. But the last years, I've been excited again, having two daughters of my own and realizing that I feel confident about myself in terms of handling a situation. But when I looked at, my young daughters, and I'm thinking, I don't think they are. So it became important again for me to start really looking at, what do young women need specifically, and, what's missing. And I oftentimes, when I'm teaching at the college and now at my own school, I tell students, it's interesting to me that we invest in ourselves every month. If you drive a car, you pay for insurance. But for some reason, when it comes to a women's self-defense class, you think, oh, I did that 5 years ago, I'm good. It's off my bucket list. And so it's trying to really create a new attitude amongst women to, inform women. And I don't like to use the word empowerment because I don't really believe I can empower women. I believe empowerment comes from within. I can inspire, or I can make them see the value in learning so that they will choose to pursue it.
Right. Absolutely. So as a school owner myself, I know it's a great need. I've always felt funny teaching women self-defense, one, because I don't have a point of reference as a woman, obviously. But it's nice to be able to have female role models in our industry that can come out and provide us with a how-to that's backed up by not theory but experience.
Right.
Because I can see people talk a lot about many different things, but they're really doing it out of theory. There's nothing like not that they can't back it up, but they don't have anything solid to go back to.
They don't have the empirical knowledge.
Right. Versus you coming from a point of a world champion kickboxing, boxing, you coming from the ring, you coming from Filipino martial arts background, you coming from full contact stick fighting and Jujitsu and putting all that together. And on top of that, and here's a very rare kind of thing in our industry, but you coming from an educated background right? That you were, you're teaching in a university. You're teaching this how to communicate and how to do this stuff correctly. So putting that all together, so can we say that you're coming up with this package?
I am, and one of my expertise has been developing curriculum for the college. So I've developed, the majority of courses for our department. And in developing these courses, I started thinking when I'm teaching, because I was really just teaching the Eskrima and the boxing, the kickboxing, and I thought, we really need this. But the issue is this: women have to be, I'm not going to say women have to be taught differently than men. I would say men should be trained as women are trained. And the reason I say that is because...
Well, that just gave me chills for a second. That was different. Okay.
Well, and the reason I say that is when I left the ring, I spent many years as a defensive tactics trainer. And I developed a program with training the female officer. And what they found doing studies was that oftentimes women did not have the confidence. They would try to do the push-ups, as we were talking about, and hang with the men in the academy. But when they went out to the field, they couldn't perform, because inside they didn't have that confidence in their ability to actually execute the tactic. So I started really thinking about that as I started developing my program. When I think of training women, it has to be simple. And please don't misunderstand when I say it has to be simple. That applies to everyone. Gross motor skills are more important than simple and complex motor skills. If you can't, and I learned this in training with law enforcement, they can't learn it in 6 to 8 reps, it goes out. They're not going to teach them that, because when you're out in the field, you have to be able to react. And so my philosophy in training, especially with my women's program, is to teach you to develop your reflexes, not to teach you a bunch of technique. And I do teach, based on range, but I think it's a good program that is simple enough that you're developing certain attributes and you can continue on your own, even if you're not going to continue, coming to more seminars or with the program. But there's a second part to that, and I think is very important for not just women's self-defense, let's just say self-defense, period. I could teach you, if you come to me and teach all these tactics, if your body is not trained enough to resist, I'm going to say trauma, the violence that it might have to encounter, then what's the point? So it's more important than teaching you a lot of techniques that you have a certain level of physical conditioning. Right. Earlier we were talking about push-ups, and I often tell women, if you can't do one push-up, how are you going to push somebody off of you? You wake up in the middle of the night, somebody's laying on top of you that you didn't invite. So how are you going to get that person off of you if you don't even have enough upper body strength to do a single push-up? So I'm really excited, and I've been, testing the market, every month I'm doing these workshops, and I've had a great response. And this program is not for the committed martial artist. This is for anyone that's not, hasn't trained but is wanting to learn something.
So as a school owner, I can subscribe to this business model that you're doing. I can learn obviously through videotapes and through the video training and manuals that you're going to have.
Yes.
So there'd be a package that I can purchase maybe one time or subscribe or however you're going to do it.
Yes.
So will you have something special just for the martial arts school owners? Because we're the one that's saying we're going to provide a self-defense for women, but can we say it's backed up or related or associated with you and your name? And okay, perfect. Because I can do my own style and stuff, but when it gets down to the women thing, I don't touch that. So it's nice to be able to come from a solid source. So so pretty soon we're going to have something, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can look forward to this program that's coming up. Meanwhile, she has a whole big presence online that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and so I'll let you guys know what's going on. But if you're interested in taking to the next level as far as the women's self-defense offering your class, just leave a comment below, in the comment section, and I will provide her information for you and send it to you, and you guys can kind of, maybe talk directly about how you can be more involved with this. But thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we're going to do more stuff online, and you see more of what you can do. So have a good weekend, you guys.